And welcome in Friday edition. Chase, Big Joe. Hope you're having a great day. Dr. Crane with us as well after doing a great job as the next man up. We'll invite him back to do that. He did good.
He's done a lot of
He did.
airtime this week.
He hung out with Mike Organ. So
Right, which should give him about 2 weeks off.
yeah.
I saw Mike just left and he walked out with our Keurig. And I'm like, hey, buddy, we're not, this isn't The Price is Right. You don't get a gift. Put it back. So I'd have Mike Organ put our Keurig, whatever the hell it's called. Keurig, whatever, back in the break room. Like this, you don't get a parting gift. This isn't Derek Jeter.
Now I understand why the Rayon City, city council has all these nice gifts in their front office.
Oh, yeah, right. And he's been brought up on misconduct charges for things like that for years, and he always is found innocent. Not today, Mike. So anyway, no, it was fun. Good job there, Dr. Crane, on all that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Real quick shout out. I have an Apple phone update it did last night. And now if you call me and it doesn't recognize the number, it asks you who you are and why you're calling. This is the greatest update in the history of technology. I am telling you, it asks you who you are and why you're calling. I mean, it's beautiful. So thank you, Apple, for doing that. It's going to be a good day.
That is pretty good. I would love if it would just be accurate to you and say, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
What the hell do you want?
Exactly. What do you want? Why are you wasting our time? That's what it is. So good job to you, Apple, for the update today.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. Excited. It's a Friday. We got a loaded show, and we're really excited about it. Bonnie Bernstein, longtime reporter, was on the sidelines for NFL. She's got a new TV show coming out. She's going to join us at the bottom of the hour, so we'll talk to her about that. 1 o'clock, our buddy, I put on the little teaser that I sent out. He's our best friend because he truly is.
Yeah, right.
Vince Gill is going to join the show. He always comes on to talk about moms for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And I probably should have set that up a little better.
That's okay. You can talk about your dog on Mother's Day. That's okay. We can do that.
But he's going to be playing at Vanderbilt Stadium tomorrow with the Eagles.
Yeah, so I look forward to it. So I called him again, and then he answered on the first ring.
Yeah.
So I got nervous. I'm like, oh, my God.
Did he know it was you? Did he say, hey,
yeah.
buddy?
Yeah. I mean, it was so – I felt empowered the fact that he saw my number. Like, hey, I'd like to talk to him. And so, like, when you or Nick call me, I'm like, voicemail, straight to voicemail. And he did. He's like, yeah, what time? I was like, 1 o'clock. He says, count me in. I mean, massive concert tomorrow night. They were in Atlanta Wednesday night. And so his wife is playing the Ryman tonight. So it's a busy weekend for the family. So looking forward to having him on at 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And then at 1:30, we're going to kind of get into a lot of stuff with Jeff Jarrett, who, of course, is a Hall of Fame pro wrestler, but also CEO of the Nashville Cats and a partner with them. They got a big weekend. Ted Turner passed away. Jeff worked for Ted for a long time with WCW. We'll talk to him. And then at 2 o'clock, Eric Bischoff, who was the longtime president of World Championship Wrestling that Ted Turner owned, he'll join the show. So
how'd you get him? I'm curious.
I got his number years ago, and he has always been like every time you ask him, he says yes.
Okay, that's very cool.
Very accessible.
Because I don't think that'd be somebody like if you told me like, hey, go get Eric Bischoff on, I'd be like, you go get him on yourself. I don't know how to get that guy on. So that's well done for you.
Yeah. So gonna be cool. Looking forward to that, and having Easy E, as he was referred to sometimes on, but gonna be a fun show and hit a lot of different things with all of our guests today. It looks like, Joe, that I believe it's next Thursday, May 14th, the NFL will unveil the schedule.
Yeah, there was a lot of, will it be Wednesday, it'll be Thursday, and then Schefter tweeted that earlier about the schedule release, and I guess they had to get all the broadcast partners in line, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and everybody else on the same page, and ESPN about, all right, these games be announced, what's going on, who's got this, who's got what, so it seems like it's all together, so it'll be a big day. It's always a big day. So Thursday is going to be a big day.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be curious. I think we both probably feel like the Titans won't get a primetime game, but
right.
I got a weird feeling about Thanksgiving.
Why?
Because I don't know.
Do you want to see that team on Thanksgiving? I don't.
Well, maybe. It depends on how good they are by that point.
Yeah, right, I guess.
I mean, I'm holding out hope. So So I don't know, but it could be interesting. That's for sure.
So next Thursday, I was telling Nick yesterday, I mean, I got friends who patiently wait for that schedule to come in, and that evening they book plane tickets. Like they'll go to 4 or 5 away games. They'll book plane tickets because if you book plane tickets 6 months out, you get a great deal on it. So they'll anxiously awaited the schedule release and then go out and boom, there they go.
Right. So, oh yeah, I mean, it'll be a busy day and you'll see all the prices go. Like, they play in Vegas again, so I'm sure a lot of people will want to make that trip. What?
We went 2 days without saying his name.
I didn't know that was a rule.
It's not.
Oh,
We just had a thing. Can we do 2 days without saying Cam Ward's name? And we did.
Well, I just said Cam. You just said Cam Ward.
Oh man, he got me on that one. Damn it, you could have been like
I could have been talking about Cam Chancellor or
Cam the Uber driver.
Yeah, Cam the Uber
Damn
driver.
it. Oh, you got me on that one. Damn it. That's all right.
Cam from Murfreesboro. I mean, right. That you're the one that said the other one.
That's right. I'll do better. I'll try to do better.
The NFL and the Referees Association have reached a 7-year CBA, so we won't have replacement refs, which is a good thing.
It's a great thing.
And also, our man Jawan Jennings has signed with the Minnesota Vikings,
which is good for him, but it took 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So, but he got a nice 1 year, $8 million deal, 13 with incentives slapped in there. So good for him. I mean, now you go out and 1 year deal, so what you can do and get it done. I just odd. It took 2 months to get this done.
Curious of this. If you're the Titans, the Colts released Kenny Moore, who's a veteran cornerback, after he wanted a trade. They couldn't find a trade, and so they just released him. If you're the Titans, do you make a pursuit?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because you're always grabbing these guys on 1 year deals that flame out. Tell me the last good 1 year deal they had. Jason Babin?
There's probably more than that, but I mean, Cody Barton had a good year last year, and I mean, I know it wasn't a 1 year deal, but
right, yeah, I'm talking a 1 year. Who was the guy from Seattle, the safety that was Cam's cousin or whatever? That was terrible?
But he was past his prime. I mean,
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, Kenny Moore is 30 years old. I mean, let's see. Last year, he played 14 games. Had one pick. Or one touchdown he had one pick and one for a touchdown. So, which, I mean, he's not a huge interception guy.
So my answer is no.
Okay.
Sorry. No, we've seen this game before.
55 total tackles, 34 solo.
Good.
I mean, they need corner help. That's the only reason I'm bringing that up. So
no, I think they'll see what you got. And then if somebody on the waiver wire before the first game, grab that. Otherwise, no, man.
Okay. That's fair.
Not going to do it. But that's me. I've seen how it happens before, one of these 1 year deals, and it just doesn't do much, man.
Yeah. What is our question of the day?
So in honor of Mother's Day happening on Sunday, here we go. Guys, we got you today. Our question of the day, it's not so much a question of the day. We want you to text or call your mom's name, and then we want you to give us one word to describe how incredible your mom is.
Okay.
So you call in and say, my mom's name is Mary. And the one word is beautiful. My mom's name is Janet. One word is, just passionate, whatever. 615-737-1025. We're going to do the work for you today. We're going to shout your mom's name out and what makes her so special. So text us today and we'll do the work for you today. Moms deserve to be recognized every single day of the year. And on our show today, that's our theme for Mother's Day. So text us your mom's name and then the one word that you would describe how incredibly awesome your mother is. And we'll put it out there. Then tell her to listen. We'll give her a shout out all through the show today.
Well, you want me to start there?
Go, buddy.
Miss Carol, and she is loving. Absolutely loving.
Dr. Crane?
My mom's name is Rosie, and she is a caring woman.
All right.
Love it.
My mother's been gone 15 years. If I had to describe her in one word, super mom.
Yeah. Well, she put up with you.
She did, right? And my brother and my sister.
I'm kidding.
And 2 horrible husbands. So anyway, 615-737-1025. It's Mother's Day shout out. Let us know. And then we would love to do that for you today in honor of Mother's Day and how incredibly awesome your mom is.
Also, we mentioned Vince Gill is going to join the show at 1:00. you're going to need to listen to that interview because
Ooh.
something in that interview is then going to be used as a clue for you to win tickets to go see Vince and the Eagles tomorrow night at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Nice.
So be listening during Vince. We're going to give you some sort of clue. And then a little later in the show, you're cue to call to give us that clue.
Well
to
done.
see the Eagles at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Yep. Well done, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So that'll be
a lot
that'll
of
be
fun
cool.
show today, buddy.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We are up and running on a Friday here on the Chase and Big Joe Show, 1025 The Game. Little Vince Gill going to join us at 1 o'clock today. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Our question of the day, what's your mom's name and describe her in one word in honor of Mother's Day? 615-737-1025. And I haven't even looked yet, but I know the text line is probably going to blow up.
It is TD from Nashville. My mom's name is Margaret Ann. The one word to describe her is octogenarian. She'll be 86 on June 11th.
Oh, wow.
Margaret Ann, well done. TD, you got a good mom right there. 4312. Penny, and I can't say it enough, patient. I mean, I guess that's a mom trait for all of them, right? Yeah. I'll read some more here. 2758. My mom's name is Becky. She passed away in 2020. One word to describe her, unforgettable. 2758. Thank you for that. 3464. Kathy St. Pat Mac. Kathy St. Pat Mac. That must be a term of endearment. So thank you, 3464.
Mike in Lebanon says Elaine and Giving.
There we go.
1335. Julie is fearless.
That's a great trait.
5698. Is it Lindia? Lindia is resilient. Yeah, so keep these coming. 615-737-1025. 2076. Shirley, incredible. 0323. My mom's name is Holly. She is strong. 8839. My mom died February 12th, 2024. I miss her. She was my life and miss her. Shout out to Catherine. Thanks, Rich.
Nice. Nevada Josh. Mom's name is Lori. Undefeated.
Love that.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Love that. Let's see. 2823. Carmela. Unsinkable.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yes.
So we'll get to these throughout the show. That is our theme today. We always honor the moms before Mother's Day, and obviously, JoJo, we think about you every year because your mom's looking down, smiling, very happy.
Well, here's the thing to everybody listening out there. You know what I stand on this. If you're with your mom this weekend, and I say this every year, take pictures.
Yeah,
I have no pictures with my mother as like after my first wedding when it was 1994. I don't have a single picture with my mom. She passed away in 2011. They're going to gripe. They're going to moan. They're going to complain. Take 1,000 pictures with your mom. Take 1,000 pictures with your dad when Father's Day rolls around. But this weekend, if you're with your mom, take a bunch of pictures. I don't have any, man. I have no pictures to show my kids and grandkids.
Well, you post the one of her and JJ a lot.
That's
it her and you?
That's me.
That's you?
Yeah, it's me at
crazy.
6 months old, right?
Oh, wow.
I don't have any with her, with my son. And that's the thing. My mistake. So I'm telling you, guys and gals, take pictures this weekend with your mom. Again, she's going to complain. That's what moms do. That's why we love them. But just take the pictures. You have those forever. Take it and then print them out and have them a double backup on those things. I'm telling you, don't have the regret that I had.
Yeah, it's funny now that I have met someone, dating someone. I for I guess it was Easter, took like my first picture with both of them and like looked at it on my phone and almost started crying. I was like, this is like, really cool.
Seriously, you don't be the regret that I had of not having that. It's just terrible.
Jeremy in Clarksville, Trisha, strong-willed. Dennis says Dorothy, courage, passed away in 1981.
Oh man.
Andrew from Dover, Tammy, and the word to describe her is cheerleader. She showed up to every game I had in middle school, high school, and college, and now she does that with my kids.
It's pretty solid right there.
4312, Penny, I can say it enough, patient, or I can't say it enough, patient. You read this one, St. Pat Mac, that was a good one.
Yep.
All right. Keep these coming. 615-737-1025.
Amen with all that.
I want to go back to something with Jawan Jennings. Why do you think it did take so long? Is there a rep on him? I mean, I know he's had stuff, but I feel like since he's been in the NFL, he's been a good teammate, good pro, obviously a good player.
It's got to be.
So, I mean, what took so long? Did he ask for too much money? Because I think he got a 1 year. It's $8 million guaranteed with 13.
Right, Dr. Crane. What was that list you had back in March about what he's guaranteed or some amount of money that Jennings, like 22 million. It was some stat you had for us, like on the open market, he's worth or valued that much money. And if you're worth that much money at 22 million and you're signing for 8 million, there's what's the disconnect? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, according to Spotrac, his I guess estimated market value is like roughly 22 million.
yes, that's it.
And I don't know how that number is figured, but it's definitely doesn't equate to what's going on right now.
Exactly. And so, and it's taken nearly 2 months. So I don't want to speculate because I don't know, but from all accounts, from everybody we've talked to, he's been an A+ stand-up guy, locker room guy on the field. There's been no problems. So I don't know, man.
615-737-1025. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be your top tier break the bank guy, but like a team like Minnesota, I think could certainly use a player like him.
Yeah. No, I mean, sure, any team could use a player like him, but at the same time, that's $14 million under your market value that you got, and it took 2 months. So I don't know, again, what happened, if there's word out there. Even Tim Hasselbeck, we talked about with him. Tim's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on either. So who knows, man? Just now you've got the deal signed. Go to Minnesota, you got 1 year, and then fire it up and, find another 4 or 5 year deal down the road if you can.
I actually think that helps that receiver. So here's what they got. They got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and then Dylan Bell's a rookie out of Georgia. Never heard of him. Joquan Davis, who's never heard of him. Ty Felton, he's a second-year guy. Jawan. I mean, they needed some help because they had a lot of young receivers outside of Jefferson and Addison. So adding Jawan Jennings to the mix, I mean, he can easily be their third guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go there for an opportunity to show out and then have a great year, then find another 4 or 5 year deal down the road if you can get that. But I don't know. Everybody's signing 3, 4, 5 year deals, and then here's 1 year way below his market value. But look, he's getting 8 million, and he could get up to 13 million with incentives. So hopefully he shows out and gets that contract.
Huh. Johnny Hecker is there, the former Titans punter.
Oh,
he signed there too. I know you love punters. So
great day when I look at a team roster and there's no punters on there. Be a fantastic.
What would a punter
day.
do to you?
They're worthless. It's a worthless spot in football. Absolutely worthless spot in football.
Here's the other thing. Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings? Is it going to be J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray, or I mean, it's one of those two, but Carson Wentz is also on the roster.
That's terrible. It's going to be. They got to give J.J. the shot. I mean, he's the one.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get it done, then it's like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Just give him the shot, man. Just give him the shot.
Yeah. And that's your Vikings update for today. It's the most we talk Vikings here on the show.
Right. The Vikings are barely a step ahead of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. They are. I mean, but I do like what's their coach's name? I just blanked on his name.
O'Connell.
Yeah, I do like him. I mean, I think he's done a good job considering he's never had an elite quarterback.
Well, he kind of had one and they left and went to Seattle, won a championship.
I mean, still don't say he's elite.
Pretty damn good. Yeah.
It was good for a year, but
funny. You sit in front of the TV, so I'm always looking over your head to see what's going on,
which is probably good.
And SNL has Matt Damon's hosting SNL this weekend, and they do this commercial, and they walk up and they've got this big whiteboard, and they're putting the sketches down and everything, and they ask Matt, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and so they walk off. And then he does Goodwill Hunting on the board. He puts all these things down there, but they're almost like X-rated drawings that he puts on the board. And he goes off sweeping a broom. I was like, well done on that one. Nice.
Coming up next, excited about this interview. We got presented with it, and I was like, absolutely. Bonnie Bernstein, longtime reporter for sports, the NFL. She's got a new show called The Champion's Edge that's going to be coming out on ABC. We're going to tell you more about that and talk to Bonnie. Coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Friday. Excited about our next guest. She has been a longtime sports reporter and now has a new television show coming on ABC. It's going to be The Champion's Edge. It premieres tomorrow night on ABC, Saturday, May 9th. And looking forward to it. Bonnie Bernstein joins us now on the program. Bonnie, how you doing?
Happy Friday, Joe and Chase. How's it going in Nashville?
We're having a blast. The weather's nice, so we can't complain, and we made it to Friday. I know you have
an accomplishment.
It is. It is. Tell us more about this program you're going to be hosting on ABC and the Athlete Effect.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for having me on. So the Champion's Edge is part of the Saturday morning weekend adventure, like educational slate for ABC. And the basic crux of the show is each week we profile a successful woman who is harnessing her inner athlete to thrive in her career. And the cool thing is it's research-based. So there has been an accumulation of data over the last several years connecting sports participation and career success, which, you know, is probably the case for guys too, but specifically for women, because even though there are more women in the C-suites, the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs than there ever have been, it's still, you know, small relative to the number of positions like that. And so, you know, while there are so many of us who play sports and we're fortunate enough to stay in sports as a career, some of these stories also shine a light on how doctors and women who work in finance and lawyers and people in the tech industry, people in politics and government and the entertainment industry, there's so many women thriving at the top of those mountains who are harnessing leadership, teamwork, resilience, time management, discipline, confidence, all the things we learn through sports to really crush it in their careers.
And the guest list, or looking at some of the guests you're going to have on season one. I mean, Jessica Mendoza, we know her from ESPN. Ginger Z, chief meteorologist of ABC. Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, just to name a few. I mean, you got a who's who of people in different realms of life.
Yeah, and it's so important too, because one of the challenges for women who compete in sports, especially the ones who are playing at the college level, for as long as they can remember, they look at themselves in the mirror, and if somebody asks, who are you? You say, I'm an athlete. And then one day your career's over, and then you're questioning who you are. So the identity crisis is real, again, for all athletes, but I think particularly for women. And one of the messages that we want to evangelize is it doesn't matter what it is that you want to do when you're done with your competing days. If you can just sort of adopt that once an athlete, always an athlete mentality, nothing changes. The only thing that changes is who your teammates are and what the air quote field of play looks like. But we want to be able to sort of erase this identity crisis that so many people deal with, understanding that if you played sports and you're really pulling everything that you learned as an athlete, you actually have a leg up on most other people who are applying for jobs because you have that mentality of being a high performer.
Amen to that. Bonnie Bernstein's with us. The show is called The Champion's Edge. Bonnie, outside the common denominator of them all being, of the ladies all being athletes, what else do they have in common outside the field of play?
The fact that they are the best at what they do. So we know Ginger, obviously, first woman to ever be a chief meteorologist at ABC. We know Jessica was an OG in softball and then became the first woman to call an MLB game on the network and call the World Series for ESPN. But then you have women who are like, you know, Kathy Engelbert, former CEO of Deloitte, first female to be CEO of one of the major accounting firms. Teresa Williamson, she's not a name that most people would know, but she played soccer at Yale. And there are 33 Black female neurosurgeons in this country. To give you context, there's about 5,000 certified meteorologists.
Wow.
And this is one of the most fascinating things. So when we were up shooting her episode, she's at Brown University Hospital, and she's like, hey, do you want to come in and shoot a surgery? I was like, really? So our camera crew is in the operating room watching her do this minimally invasive back surgery that's used a lot for, you know, if you've been athletic and you slipped a disc. This type of surgery, it's a minor incision. She uses a little 7mm camera. You're in and out the same day. It takes about an hour. And she is somebody who's made by sports. And what she didn't even realize is that within that operating room, there were probably 9 people in there. All but one of them were female, and all but one of the women played sports. And after the surgery, we kept the cameras inside and we went to each one of them and we asked what sports they played. And I think there were 7 different sports. It was so phenomenal the way we're able to create this analogy between the team mindset, the preparation, the communication, the teamwork, the need to make in-game adjustments, the need to review the game afterwards and figure out how to be better. They do all those same things during the course of the surgery, and the light bulb went on. And I think among all the different episodes we shot, that one was just so eye-opening because I realized we're really onto something here.
Yeah, I think it's great because you don't see a neurosurgeon every day, right? And so it's on your list. I was going to ask you about that.
Do you guys know any? I don't know any neurosurgeons.
No, not at all.
They're not hanging out at Whole Foods. I mean, they might be. They have to eat, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing that. Let me ask you this. With the sports, I was fortunate to play college football. And so it taught me structure. Is structure a big, you played sports in college. Is structure a part of the success?
100%. And that's one of the things that I didn't even realize, because when I was in high school, I didn't think about it then. You're just kind of on autopilot. My day was wash, rinse, and repeat. Get up, take the bus or drive to high school. There's an after-school sport, gymnastics, indoor track or outdoor track, or one of the 4 bands I was in, or student council, or Latin club. Take the lake bus home, shove some food down your face, and then go train 3 hours of club gymnastics. Come home, do your homework, go to bed. And you're just doing it because you want to do it. And what you realize in the real world is that ability to manage your time is so critical, because there are people who would try to run the schedules that we do, especially in sports, and we're working on weekends. You know, most people have weekends off. Weekends are our week. And in order for us to be able to function in our jobs as a wife or a husband or a parent, it really takes this ability to manage your time. And I'm not sure that there's any better place to learn that than in sports.
We're talking to Bonnie Bernstein. Again, the program will debut tomorrow on ABC. It's called The Champion's Edge, and we've posted the trailer for it on our Twitter at 1025 The Game, so you can check that out. Walk Swiftly Productions, that's your production company. What are some other things that you've been working on with that?
Well, this has been the focus for a while, but we also, I think one of my other favorite series that we did, and it really lent credence to why I wanted to go off and try to do something by myself, because these are the sorts of shows that you have to be outside of the network universe for somebody to be able to listen to you. But one of my other favorite ones, which I think would resonate with you guys, was a series for CMT called Country on Campus.
Nice.
So we went on the road with artists who love college football as much as we do, because there's a huge crossover audience between country music fans and college football fans. So we went on the road, for example, with Darius Rucker and Lady A. And so Darius and Charles Kelly are best buddies. They golf all the time. And it just so happened that they were touring together, and they were in Pittsburgh the week that South Carolina, where Darius went to school, and Georgia, where the guys at Lady A went to school, were playing each other. So we're on the road in Pittsburgh. Their crews are putting together a little tailgate watch party, and then they're going through sound checks and, running back and forth. And then when they're on stage, they're like, in their inner ears asking, like, what's the score? What's the score? It was hilarious, but it was just, I'm so passionate about music, and particularly country music, because that was my first job out of college. Like, I grew up in New Jersey, and we were just all about disco and hip hop. But when I got my first job and I was working at a country radio station, and our programming director was from Nashville, I fell in love with country music. And so to be able to take my passion for music and country and meld it with what I've known for 30 plus years in sports, and particularly college football, when that thing hit CNT, I was giddy. It was such an awesome project to work on.
Oh, that's awesome. Bonnie, it is Mother's Day this weekend. What's your mom's name, and can you describe her in one word?
My mom's name is Lois, and in one word, I would say Brooklyn. But I think to really bring Brooklyn to life, I would need to talk about why Brooklyn is so meaningful, and why when I talk about my mother, I say Brooklyn. because there's just something that comes with that accent that's sort of an edge that gives you a sense for who my mother is and who I am. And now you have it.
That is
I
fantastic.
love that. Well done.
That is perfect.
You asked. So.
I want to know. I love that. That's awesome. I want to ask because, we have a lot of people on that have, covered a lot of different big sporting events in their career, but you've gotten to work a Super Bowl. What is that like, being on the sidelines of the biggest game, knowing you're going to crown the champion?
I know this is such a cliche answer, but it's so true. The athletes say this all the time too. I think in the lead up, there's all this excitement and to a certain degree anxiety in the lead up to the game. That's typically the way I am anyway, right? Like if I'm, for when I would do sideline or preparing to host something in studio, there's a level of anxiety in the lead up to the game because I'm not as prepared yet as I want to be. But over the course of the week, I absorb all of the articles and I put together my notes and I interview the coaches and the players and the GMs and the owners. And you just kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm good. And then there's a sense of calm. For the Super Bowl, I was surprised. My first Super Bowl, which was 2001. So that was Giants Ravens. And I was actually assigned to the Giants sideline, which was super cool because that was my team growing up. But I remember I was standing with Jim Fossil. We were getting ready to go live for the pre-kick interview. And he just looked at me and he said, "You were born to do this."
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And we had a talk the day before. So the crew, Jim Nance and, was it Jim Nance? No, it was Greg Gumbel and Phil Simms at the time. I think that's right. And I and our producer and director, we all got to go to their last walkthrough. And I always try to touch base with the coaches. So I walked up to Coach Fossil and he's like, "Come walk with me." And here I am, like he's getting ready to play in the Super Bowl and he's giving me a pep talk, which was hilarious. But he really just said, before you leave the stadium, take a walk around, take a deep breath, soak in everything that you're about to experience. And so when he said that to me, when we got ready to go on the air, it almost put a bow on our conversation from the day before. And for some reason, guys, it enabled this calm to wash over me that I completely forgot that tens of millions of people were about to listen to what we were about to talk about, and that I was going to be covering the crown jewel of the NFL. But like anything else, once you start getting into the game, it's just another game. You're focusing on the same things you focus on, whether it's a regular season or, a wild card game or the Super Bowl. And you just kind of get locked in, and it kind of brings our whole conversation full circle, because one of the things that we learn as athletes is how to focus, how to tune out all the noise. And that's exactly what I did in that moment.
Bonnie Bernstein is with us. Your show focuses on women in, high positions and finding their inner athlete. And again, it premieres tomorrow, The Champion's Edge on ABC. What's your advice, specifically in a business that we're all in broadcast, which is not easy. And this of working your way up, for young women that see you or see others and have that dream to roam the sidelines or play by play or whatever it may be. What is some of your advice for them as they move into that career?
Sure. And I think, guys, this is advice not just for women, it's for anybody. And I will say that while the Champion's Edge focuses and our storytelling is around female leaders, anybody watching this show, male athlete, female athlete, parents, coaches, you can glean the same insights about how sports teaches us to lead. But what I would say is I think young people are in an extraordinary position because they're all growing up as digital and social natives. And why that's important, for all the perils of social media, the power of social media is that you get to have a voice. You get to build your brand. You get to put yourself out to audiences that without social media, they would never be able to see you. And so why that's important and why that's valuable for young people is that if you are taking the initiative to build your brand and craft your voice and engage with people, you are essentially the CEO of your own brand. And when it's time for you to go out and apply for jobs or figure out what it is that you want to do, maybe you want to be an entrepreneur or start a company or whatever it is, it says to anybody that's going to come into your orbit, you are going the extra mile. You are doing the work. You are prepared. You are thoughtful. You're intentional. Those are the sorts of people that companies want to hire. And we learn that through sports. And with social media, you can start making your own money. You know, like we talk about NIL in the college space, and that's certainly trickled down to high school. You don't even need to be an athlete to do that. You just need a platform, and you've got it.
Bonnie, great stuff. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking about this. And good luck with the show. And we look forward to talking to you down the road.
Joan Chase, great to talk to you. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Bonnie Bernstein joining us here on the program, an Emmy-winning sportscaster, and she is the new host and executive producer of the ABC series, The Champion's Edge, which will premiere tomorrow. You can check your local listings on ABC stations, Channel 2 here in Nashville, and we posted the trailer as well. Really cool.
Yeah, she did a thing years ago. I had an intern. I was at Channel 2, and then the intern's like, I don't want to ask her. I said, just go ask her. And she went through and talked to her for like 20 minutes about getting into the business and what to do and everything like that. Extremely gracious. Yeah. So I didn't want to bring that up at the end there because I like what she was talking about far more than, hey, let me put myself in the story. So well done.
Very, very cool stuff with her. Vince Gill going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll come back with more here on Chasing Big Joe on this Friday. And again, be listening during that Vince Gill interview. We'll give you a hint, a clue, or there's something will come up in that interview about Eagles tickets because we're giving those away tomorrow for tomorrow's show. Broadcasting for the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios. Over the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It's Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni on 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to the Champion's Edge.
It's crazy to think I am head field hockey coach here.
Everything I learn on the field,
Welcome to the Champion's Edge.
It's crazy to think I am head field hockey coach here.
everything I learn on the field I use.
In sports, that practice makes perfect part that I've brought into my career.
I've learned it as an athlete. In the biggest moments, it's how to focus on one thing.
Companies love hiring athletes. People love associating with athletes. You're always going to be an athlete. And the only thing that changes is who your teammates are and what your field of play looks like.
All right, welcome back to the Chase and Big Joe show right here on 102.5 The Game. Vince Gill is going to join us at 1 o'clock today. Looking forward to having our buddy back on the show. Our question of the day is, we want you to text in your mom's name and describe her in one word. 615-737-1025. Call, text. We'd love to hear from you. But let us know. Tell us your mom's name, describe in one word, because we will shout it out and give all the love for your mom, as they're the greatest ever, right? All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Kenny the mailman. Kenny, welcome in, buddy. How are we, man?
Doing great. Thank y'all for honoring the people that seldom get honored. Y'all are the absolute best at doing that. And what's sad, hardly anybody else does it. So thank you for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But my mother's name was Virginia. And the one word everybody would think of her with her name was service, because we grew up in the 60s and we refused to be called lower class. You know how people want to put people in classes. We just didn't have money.
Right.
So to help people, anytime anybody was sick, my mama would make them a big pot of soup. Didn't matter if you were in our church, not in our church. If you were in the neighborhood, you got her soup. If someone passed away, you got a couple, she'd make a couple of homemade cakes, but not only that, she'd sit with you at the funeral and like work in the kitchen so the family could stay in the funeral. Vacation Bible schools made homemade cupcakes and cookies, no store-bought things, and would mix the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
So when Mama wasn't able to do stuff like that anymore, people realized it, because it'd take 3 or 4 people to do what she used to do. So, our country has turned into a land of me, me, me. She taught me it was really about we. So we're carrying on what she did, and I insist my sons act the way she did. So thank y'all for doing this.
Yes,
y'all
sir.
Have a great afternoon.
Appreciate
Thank you, Kenny.
Thanks.
Great stuff.
Sums it up, man. That
Look,
really does.
I do want to say this, because I appreciate when Kenny, or anybody brings up of what we do. We recognize we're different. We're a different show.
Yeah.
And when you and I started talking about doing something together, the big thing was we were going to be local, but we weren't going to be your straight sports talk show.
Not at all.
There is nothing wrong with sitting there talking sports 100% and the same topics over and over and over. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't, but not every show has to be the same.
No, I agree.
And people that say they do not have a good pulse on the audience.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
If I'm not going to break down the Titans for 3 hours, I'm not. I'll walk out of the studio and go home. But if we're going to highlight people around our community, have fun, and we have the sports stuff, that's all great. But man, this is a 3-hour cab ride, right? You're on a cab ride with us.
Or sitting at the bar.
That's what we're doing here. And we're going to talk about life and love and heartbreak and failure and success and everything else, man. We're just a couple of bonehead dudes, man, who are blessed to have a show. So anytime we can highlight and spotlight things, you and I agree, and so does Dr. Crane, hyper local. That's why we do a lot of high school stuff, a lot of community stuff, and not to pat us on the back, but they need a voice, right? And we're blessed enough to give them a voice, and that's what we so enjoy doing.
Yeah, no, and that's the whole point of us doing what we do. And again, not to pat ourselves on the back by any means.
I don't think I could touch my back. I mean, I don't think I could stretch that far.
Yeah, I probably couldn't.
Yeah, right.
So Nevada Josh says, "Hey Joe, I know it's not the same, but you can take photos of people, and there's an app where you can combine the photos and put the people together in one photo. So you can take a photo of yourself and your mom, even if they're 30 years apart or whatever, and put them together as one, even change the background. I mean, technology,
I get it.
Yeah. And it's cool.
It's cool. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, and people do that, and that's fine. But for me, it's not the same. And I got a lot of regrets in life, and Lord knows we talk about a lot of them. He and I do. But not have any pictures, like you two should take pictures with your mom constantly.
Yeah.
Have 1,000 of them. And I regret that I don't have, man, it's tough. I don't have more with my mom. I don't. And there's nothing I can do about it now. But I can tell you to take pictures, what makes me kind of happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow night at Vanderbilt Stadium on their campus, the Eagles will be playing, and going to be awesome. Vince Gill, who plays with them now, is going to join us coming up next. Really looking forward to it. That is all next. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
All right.
So I haven't even looked at it yet. Greg Arias just sent me a text. What do you want to bet? He wants Eagles tickets.
Of course. I'm sure that's why Mike Kennedy called.
No, okay. I want to see Joe try to touch his toes.
You know, this so he just said, hey, call this number at 1. Hopefully, the number he'll know that we're calling at 1. And then, his publicist saw the post. He's like, oh, I can't wait to listen. So maybe double the
keeping your ponds and fountains clear, your fountains flowing, and your boat docks free of unwanted weeds. Visit aquaticweedwizards.com today. Credit card interest.
Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Friday. We told you it was a packed show. We're moving fast and furious and excited about our next guest. I don't think he has anything going on this weekend, so he was nice enough to take some time and join us. We bring in the great Vince Gill, who joins us now.
Howdy, boys. How we doing?
We're good. How you got anything going on tomorrow night?
Not much. pesky little show down at the university.
Yeah, you put this new little band together about a bird or something, right? Is that what I understand?
About 53, 54 years ago, I put this band together.
What before we get into the other stuff, I mean, we've talked to you about it before, but I mean, you get to play guitar with Joe Walsh and up there with Don Henley, and I mean, all these guys. I mean, do you pinch yourself
every day, every show? You know, it's crazy that it happened. You know, and then the only reason it happened, I've mentioned it before, is because of the tragedy and the passing of Glenn Fry, and so I don't really consider myself an eagle of sorts. You know, they get me to come and show up and sing some of the songs and play, and I've done it for 10 years now, which is staggering to me that I've toured with them for 10 years, but I have, and loved every minute of it.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I've seen you with them, and it's fantastic. You fit so perfectly, and I know it's going to be a great show tomorrow night over at Vandy. We're actually going to give some tickets away here at some point at the end of this interview. So for people that want to go check it out, we've done this with you before, and it's always fun. I'll let Joe do the honors about mom.
Yeah, Vince, our thing today, you're so gracious to come on every year and talk about your mom, but tell us your mom's name, and if you had one word to describe your mom, what would it be?
My mom is her nickname was Tuffy. When she was a kid, her dad called her Tuffy because he had 2 daughters and he worked the farm, and she was the tough one. So she was always Tuffy. So that'd be the one word to describe my mom, who is 100 years old, by the way.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
Whoa. Let me ask you. So who was allowed to call her Tuffy?
All of us.
Oh, okay.
She kind of liked the nickname. She likes to battle and scrap and argue and all of that. And I tell people all the time, I said, now that she's 100, I said, I hope I'm really her son, so I have those genes.
Right. Now, you told us a story one time about you got a bad review, or did you get a good review and your mom called the music critic?
No, it was Robert Orman, who wrote for the Tennessean for years and back in the day, back for the Banner. And I just moved to town. And he wrote a really nice, glowing story about me. And Robert's been writing for 50 years, probably, you know?
Yeah.
And I saw Robert sometime later. You know, it was a real nice piece about, you know, a lot of expectations of me and first records and stuff. And he pulled me aside one day and he asked me, he said, how's your mom? And I said, well, she's fine, but why are you asking about my mom? And he goes, well, he says, you know how long I've done this? And I said, yeah, your whole life. And he goes, do you know how many thank you notes I've gotten in my whole career? And I go, how many? He said, 1 from your mother. And so that kind of tells you who my mama is right there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Let me ask you this. I recently became a grandpa a year and a half ago, and to watch my daughter become a mom is fascinating. And I know you feel the same way about your kids as well. Watching them become moms has got to be just fantastic.
It's about the best thing that's ever happened in life. You know, I always hear people make a comment about when you have grandchildren. So the great thing about having grandchildren is you get to give them back.
Right.
And I say, no, the real gift is you finally see your child understand what it means to love. You know, once they have their own child, then they look at you and go, oh, now I see how you feel about me. I never knew before. And it's pretty powerful, you know, to watch your kids turn up and have kids. We got 4 grandchildren now, and it's the best thing ever.
We're talking to Vince Gill, and of course he'll be with the Eagles tomorrow at Vanderbilt Stadium. So I have to admit, I'm having like a wow moment, because you mentioned that your mom's nickname is Tuffy. You've known my family a long time, coming into the Loveless Cafe, and you know my grandmother was there, and my dad. But when my dad was growing up, his nickname was Tuffy. So when you said that,
Really?
I was like, whoa, that's
Ken. We might be kin.
I know we're it's all there together. But yeah, Vince actually, I've told this story before. You gave me my first guitar lesson. You probably don't remember that, but I was sitting outside at Loveless, hanging out with my grandma, and had just gotten a guitar. And you looked at me and said, "Can you play that?" And I said, "No." And you did your thing, but then you kind of showed me an E chord, and I credit you with my first guitar lesson.
Awesome. I love hearing that.
So
you filled me up on biscuits. I'll teach you how to play the guitar.
Yeah, there you go. I can't quite play like him though. So
Vince,
well, I can't cook biscuits either. So
yeah, well, there you go.
I saw a great interview with you on the internet about you were doing sound check. You were playing a song, one of your songs, and Don Henley came up and said, "Hey, we need to add that to the show." And you said, "Absolutely not." And he said, "Why?" And you said, "I don't want to give the audience another chance to hate me."
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a powerful interview, and I know what you meant, but let the listeners know what you meant by that.
Well, here's the thing. I was about to step into shoes they're not fillable. I mean, I can sing songs, and I'm a decent guitar player. I can do all that stuff, and sing harmonies and whatnot, but Glenn was the founder of that band, and for me to step up there and then start singing his songs after they hadn't, heard anybody do it in 40, 45 years or whatever it had been, I just told Don, I said, "Look," I said, "what I'm getting ready to do is going to be very difficult, and a lot of people are not going to be accepting of it, and I understand that and expect that. But," I said, "I don't want to give them the reason to sit out there and say, I didn't come here to hear Vince Gill songs. I came here to hear Eagles songs." And it really came from me trying to tell Don, "Look, I don't need any preferential treatment. I don't need the spotlight. I'll take it when it's my turn and be gracious with it." And I think that meant something to Don that I didn't have an ego that needed to be fed too much, And I think that really went a long way with our relationship and our friendship, and it's been pretty great. He paid me the ultimate compliment after I'd been in the band for a while, and somebody asked him, "Hey, why did you get a country guy to be in your band?" He smiled, said, "Because he knows how to be in a band." And I've worn all the hats in this business. I've been a sideman, I've been a hired gun, I've been a session player, I've been a producer, I've been a songwriter, I've been an artist, and all the different things you can do. And I never cared about the spotlight. I just liked being part of the process, and I still feel that way today. I still work on a lot of different people's records, sing harmony with them, and play guitar for them, and things like that. That's what I love most, so I keep doing it.
50 years from home, you got the tour this year, aside from the Eagles. I mean, 50 years from home, and I know that you're a blessed man, and you're lucky and everything, but when you say that 50 years from home, how does that resonate with you?
It makes my knees hurt. It just doesn't seem possible, and that's the beauty of the passage of time, is you don't really notice it. Your body kind of does, and this and that, but it's kind of fun to look back and realize how many years I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to get to do this, and for a living. How many people get to do what they love with all their heart for a living is pretty rare. So I'm kind of grateful for that. And to me, this whole process of releasing an EP a month for a year, I mean, it's over 70 songs, something like that I've recorded and that I've written. And I realize that there's not as much time left for me to be creative as I've had to this point. So I'm trying to take full advantage of still having my faculties and still sing pretty good, play pretty good, and write songs. So it feels like I'm getting better at this. So I'm going to keep doing it until I see it go to the end of work.
The sky's the limit for you, Vince. Who knows? You might get that breakthrough. Hey, I read one time where some acts skip Nashville because they're afraid to play here because so many great musicians are here. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, I guess. I don't know that I've heard that people were afraid. For a long time, there wasn't a lot of great venues to play in Nashville. You either play out the Starwood Amphitheater or the old Municipal Auditorium. And now we've got a stadium, we've got a nice arena, we've got a lot of options. So it's way different than it used to be. But I doubt that most musicians are scared to play here. I think it's inspiring to play here because it makes you know that who's sitting out there is pretty salty. So you better bring your best game, and I think it makes you rise to the occasion more than the opposite.
So I know this is a crazy question. Vince Gill is with us on the Chasing Big Joe show. If someone has never seen an Eagles show before, what's something they can expect?
Well, maybe about the best songs you've ever heard in your life. That's what really is what made the Eagles. The Eagles was that catalog of songs. You just go down the list. There's New Kid in Town. There's Lion Eyes. There's Peaceful Easy Feeling. There's Take It to the Limit. It just is Fat Life in the Fast Lane. I mean, it never stops, And that was a pretty great lesson for me to learn at my age when I started playing with them of how important the songs are. And it's really the songs that made them the group that they are and the success that they had. And the fact that they always had like 4 different unique singers, sometimes 5, and most bands might have 1. But each singer, Glenn had his own thing. Don has his own thing. Timothy had his own thing. Randy Meisner had his own thing. Joe has his own thing. And Bernie had his own thing, and so it's a staggering legacy, and every night I sit up there and there goes Lion Eyes, and oh, here's New Kid in Town. Oh, here's Tequila Sunrise. It just never keeps going. Wow. I asked Don years ago when I first started playing with him, I said, okay, shoot me straight. I said, what's the first song you and Glenn ever wrote together? And he smiled and said, Desperado.
Ooh.
And I said, I don't believe you. I said, you had to write some lame songs first, didn't you? He started laughing. He goes, no, that's the first song we ever wrote together. And it's one of the best songs I've ever heard, And so I go, well, talk about meant to be. Those boys were meant to be.
Oh, that's fantastic. Before we let you go, you've told what is possibly the greatest story ever on the Chasing Big Joe show, and it's about singing the national anthem
I knew you were going there.
during the World Series, and your headphones went out. Will you please, and folks, if you're out there listening, this is one of the greatest stories of all time. Take us from the beginning to end, because, Vince, this story is just so bizarre. It's wonderful.
Well, I was slated to sing Game 5 of the World Series. I can't remember, 91, 92. Atlanta was in the world, was one of the teams. Is all I remember vaguely. And I was playing a show in Los Angeles, and the 4th game was about to be played when I was going on stage, and it was 3-0. So if they swept, I was not going to go to Atlanta to sing the national anthem. It would have been over. So I had a TV in between my monitors, and I was watching the game while I was doing my show to find out if I had to go to Atlanta or not. And sure enough, the team that was down 3-0 won the game, and there was going to be a Game 5. So I catch a red eye and fly to Atlanta, and I get there, and we're in a limo, and we're heading for the gate that they tell us to go to go in to sing the anthem and whatnot. Well, the limo we're in breaks down right a couple of gates before we get there. So I'm pushing the limo up to the gate. There's a security guard at the gate. And he says, well, can I help you? And I said, I'm Vince. I'm here to sing the national anthem. He goes, yeah, sure you are. I just saw you pushing a limo. Get out of here. I said, no, I really am. And the people came and said, hey, he's the anthem singer. And so I go, it's time to go sing the anthem. And so my fear of singing the anthem is always not to mess the words up. I can sing in tune pretty good most of the time and wasn't scared about that. So I go out there, and during Oh Say, the first 3 words of the song, I can't hear. There's so much delay and reverberation in the stadium that it comes back at you 2 seconds later, all during Oh Say. Oh. I went, oh my God, I've got to really concentrate on my pitch. And they go, oh crap, what are the words? What are the words? And there was a guy in the front row that had a hot dog in one hand and a beer in the other. And
America.
He was singing the national anthem for all it was worth. And he started to go, can you see? And I just went right with him. I followed him for the whole anthem, right? Just watching him like a hawk so I didn't forget the words. And we got to the very end, Rose say does that. And I went, oh, and right then he takes a bite of his hot dog. And I know the word is say, but I can't make myself say it. So I'd love to hear that anthem someday taped. I've never heard it, but there's about a 30-second pause between oh and say at the very end of that anthem. I go, oh, That dude had no idea, but he sang the national anthem at a World Series game.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Vince, we love you, man. Thank you for this. I know you're busy, but thank you.
All right, kids. Good to talk to y'all.
You too. Thanks, Vince. Vince Gill.
See you, man.
Joining us on the program, the great Vince Gill. That is definitely the best story.
It is. Just imagine that. You just picture yourself in that situation, and then at the last second, the rug is pulled out from underneath you to do that. But I mean, he's a superstar, but he's just a good dude, man. I mean, I asked him one time, I was like, how do you fit all this in? And he said, if it makes it to the schedule and there's an opening, I'm there. And that is, I mean, you've seen him at funerals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he just unannounced shows up at law enforcement when they pass away. I mean, he's just the most gracious, good guy you'll ever meet.
Well, I think I've told this story before. So I mentioned Loveless, my grandmother that owned the Loveless Cafe. I mean, he came every Saturday and had his table at the front window, and she wouldn't see that's Vince's table. She knew when he would come, and the same time every Saturday. And if he couldn't come, he'd call and tell her, hey, Miss Donna, I can't make it this week. And
Who
so
does that, man?
So when she passed away, I was doing the show, with you and Greg at the time. I was like, I need to let Vince know. And before I even had a chance to call him, he called me and said, hey, I heard your grandma passed away. I can't make the funeral, but I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, right. Is this Joe? Is it a prank call?
And that was just the coolest thing. And I remember telling my dad that. I mean, he got choked up. Was like, that Vince,
right.
But that's just who he is. He's just a genuine guy.
Is he the Roy Acuff had it for a while, and George had it for a while, George Jones? I mean, is he the mantle of country music right now?
Oh,
I mean, I know there's different divisions of country music and all that, but is he at the top, like the president, like the hierarchy? I mean, the guy.
Yeah,
I
would say so.
I mean, I know George Strait's popular, but Vince is so well loved with so many people.
But see, he transcends country music because he's country music, rock and roll, rockabilly. Like, he's everything. I mean,
right.
People may not remember there was a band called Pure Prairie League that had a pretty popular song called Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Vince played guitar for that band before he even hit it, on his own.
And then Let Me Love You Tonight, right? He sang that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, and then he had his solo career as well. So
he told us a story one time about Mark Knopfler, the Dire Straits, called him and said, hey, I want you to be my guitar player. And Vince is like, I had no money. I was living paycheck to paycheck, but I knew I had a dream. But if I gave up the dream, I would never have the dream. So he just kept on doing it. And it's a story of we talk all the time. Keep showing up, man. Just keep showing up.
Yep. We'll step away. Again, Jeff Jarrett at the bottom of the hour. We stacked and packed today, but good stuff with Vince Gill. It's Chasing Big Joe presented by the Omni. We will give you that clue coming up here, or that cue to call here in a few minutes for Eagles tickets. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Hey, the Nashville Sounds are up in Louisville taking on the Bats this evening. They are the AAA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. First pitch at 6:15, pregame at 6. Catch it all on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Family Leisure and Social Cantina. Appreciate Vince Gill for joining us in the last segment. So here it is, your cue to call. 615-737-1025. The first person to tell Dr. Crane what was Vince's mom's nickname. He said it in the interview. It came up a couple of times. What was Vince Gill's mom's nickname? You'll win a pair of tickets to see Eagles at Vanderbilt Stadium tomorrow night. So there you go. What was the nickname? Tell Dr. Crane, 615-737.
Excited for our next guest.
1025. Yes, very excited for our next guest. Double J, Jeff, JRRETT. He is the CEO of the Nashville Cats. They're playing this weekend up in Clarksville. You and I will be there and also talk some wrestling, talk Ted Turner. Double J going to join us coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe on 1025 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. No, it's not a wrestling match. Not yet, at least. It could be. We say hello now to one of our favorites, Jeff Jarrett, CEO of the Nashville Cats, and, of course, Hall of Fame pro wrestler as well. Double J, how you doing?
Good, guys. Hi, man. We getting the band back together tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon. I'm pretty excited. You guys, I guess you could say we're making your 2026 season premiere. Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate. At least for me. Joe was there for the first game, but
yeah,
I'm excited. I got to see the Cats play last weekend. Unfortunately, lost there at the end of the game, which was a fun game, but definitely wanted that win. But excited to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's the first time you two guys are together. We had that ham and egger that Joe had to pull through the broadcast. And I'm kidding, guys. Happy to be on here. Happy Friday. We got beautiful weather out. Headed into Mother's Day weekend, and man, oh man, we're going to have some fun tomorrow. Doors open at 3, kickoff at 4. So what do you got for me today, guys?
Well, I know you're excited to have Austin Peay's legendary head coach, Dave Luce, who's going to be there as the Cats captain on Saturday. Obviously, there in Clarksville. He is a legend, and the game ball will be, of course, Coach Fisher. He's going to present that, and both of them going to sign autographs starting at 3 o'clock. But pretty cool to have Coach Luce in the house.
It is. I'll tell you a cool little story that, we're getting things in place from, I guess you could say, a promotional model. Tomorrow, the first 1,000 fans get the drawstring, the tote bag, backpack, if you will. So as a giveaway, and everybody's really excited about that. Fans love getting some free swag as they walk through. But as we were rolling out how to really pay, total respect to the man, Dave. And gosh, when you start looking at his stats, you talk about a living legend that we have. So very cool to have him. But Coach Fisher, as a part of our Cats captain, we also have the game ball presenter. Last game, Mayor Golden did it. And Fisher was like, man, I think I ought to step into this role because there's a couple of different politicians and we've got some luminaries lined up for the rest of the year. But I thought it was pretty cool that from one Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer, the game ball presenter is going to be Jeff Fisher. So I think it was pretty cool for Coach to step up to that. So both coaches, both Hall of Famers are going to be on the field as we kick this game off.
And it's also, I think it's the perfect time. It's in the late afternoon. You can be over by 7 o'clock. You still got the night ahead of you. It's the perfect afternoon. Jeff, I will tell you, man, it's so cool. The 2 games up there, seeing more and more people that more and more people that are showing up like, hey, I heard you on the radio and I saw this. I'm out here. It's just a fun afternoon and product. And I know you see it every time you watch the Cats play.
I do. And you know what's pretty cool? I was talking to the venue this morning, and if you haven't been up there, in the Middle Tennessee area, you're talking about, I'll just call it kind of a miniature Bridgestone. I think that's easy. Paying total respect, but man, it is a great venue. And I just heard this morning, Joe, I think you'll like this, Jason. I think the fans will like this. They do ratings on events, on the exit, and they do surveys, and we have indexed at the very top of the list. So out of 5, we got a 4.9. So I'm just saying that we really make the game experience. And you guys know that I'm not the football guy, but I was fortunate enough, and me and Coach Fisher collaborated. But man, from the time the doors open at 3 o'clock tomorrow, we really want you to be a part of it, engaged. The Lady Cats, literally, they're our ambassadors. Not only do they get immersed in the crowd and the game experience, but they are meeting people as they walk through the doors. Really cool things we have lined up, the giveaways and the activations, and Cool Cat will be there. So I'm pretty happy with that because I understand it, folks. Mother's Day weekend, people spend their hard-earned money. If they're going to come out to an event, come out to a Cats game, we want them to enjoy it literally from the time they get out of the car until the time they get back into it. That is not just a kind of thought process. That's kind of a mandate from us.
I love it. And it's been so much fun. And listen, your quarterback, Tyler Kalka, right? And I love the Kalka mania. You know how that goes. But I'm telling you, to have a guy like that on that Cats team, a quarterback knows how to win, and the nickname, I mean, that guy is A number 1, Jeff.
And, again, Coach Arbette, and, man, he's inching toward that 200 lifetime career win, which is he's going to be setting a record, winning us all-time arena coach before long. But, man, when he was telling me preseason about the team, and, of course, my first question, hey, man, how's the QB? He just kind of looked at me and grinned, and he said, who else do you want to ask about? And I said, well, wait a minute. He said, Jeff, he's special. And, man, he's a great kid. I've had many conversations with him, and we're doing features on him. And he his wife just had a baby. We're actually going to throw that picture up on because it humanizes all of us. He's a father. He's providing now for another mouth, and he absolutely loves to play ball, and he can damn sure sling it. You ain't kidding, Joe.
Well, I want to say this, because he's got the whole Culkamania thing. I think in a post-game interview, we need to send Big Joe down there to talk to him, and it's only fitting that he looks at Joe and goes, well, let me tell you something, Big Joe. I think we need some Hulkster, with the whole Culkamania thing.
I'm maybe hoping for a guitar shot or maybe a chair or I don't know, but maybe we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, hey, the thing that is really cool, claws out end zone experience. It's literally right in the end zone. My wife Karen and my son and a bunch of people watch. It's a great seat, but man, when you're that on top of the product and watching it, and you hear the jaw jacking and you hear the athletes. Literally, you can hear them, just huffing and puffing, and the smack talk. Boy, you're really right on top of the action. You're not going to get that you're just not going to get that at other sporting events. So I have seen the smiles on faces, and I've also seen kind of the jaw drop on some faces when they see the hits. And there was a clip on AF1. The AF1 is our website for league wide. A couple of the videos have gotten in the 3 and the 4 and the $5 million views. It's because of the action. The action is unbelievably incredible, and you're right on top of it. And they hit those boards, the dasher boards. It's crazy, man. It's just great football entertainment.
So it's funny. Jeff Jarrett is with us from the Nashville Cats, and of course, Hall of Fame professional wrestler as well. That on my Twitter feed, it popped up. Do you know what you were doing on May 8th, 2002, 24 years ago?
May 8th, 2002. Oh, I think that is, I'm going to beat you to this. That's the day we announced Total Nonstop Action TNA Wrestling. Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Wow. I was like, that is crazy.
Wow.
that pops up on my feed. That was you and your dad, and obviously with the NWA, that had to be a pretty cool deal to put that all together.
Oh, buddy. I mean, I was just, yesterday they did the Variety came out with the exclusive that Dark Side of the Ring. And if you're not a wrestling fan, just the title you hear, Dark Side of the Ring, there's a lot of stories that have been told on that. It's a fascinating show. Internally in the business, a lot of folks got a lot of brushback, but man, that's really the underbelly of that. But they approached me, 6-7 months ago and discussed and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. And I said, well, before I tell you no, let me hear you out. And when they kind of got into it, I said, hey, man, I am very blessed that there's a lot of Dark Side of the Ring stories that folks haven't lived to tell the backside of it. I'm very grateful. And so that came out. But, a part of that, obviously, is why I bring that up is the TNA story is ingrained in that. My father. So it's pretty cool. But, that was, 24 years ago today, Chase. You history buff you.
Well, and here's another one because I'm glad that we're having you on because yesterday would have been the birthday of my favorite tag team partner of yours, the late, great Owen Hart.
Wow, yes. That was, and then my podcast comes out new, episodes every Tuesday, My World with Jeff Jarrett. There's my cheap Mick Foley plug for you, Jay.
Very nice.
But, Owen, it's always special, and my podcast group always remembers that. I still have it in my phone, his birthday, and, there's so many things that can be said about it, but Owen was a one-of-a-kind and just an incredible sweetheart of a man. He was a family man, but a hell of a wrestler, and I miss him to this day.
Jeff, this is Mother's Day weekend, and our question of the day is, tell us your mom's name and then one word to describe her?
My mom's name, she passed away a few years ago, was Julianne, all one word. She used to hear that. It's one word. One word to describe her: disciplined.
Nice.
That is a good one.
If we're just going one word, yeah, she was very regimented and, had to get the chores done and a lot of lessons. Both my parents were very, very much disciplinarians. And so, didn't always enjoy it back in the day, but it certainly, yes, it's paid off these days for sure.
Do you see a lot of your mom's actions in you now when you talk to your kids?
That's a good question because like any, not to get off into a rabbit hole, but, a lot of times you get up and you go, I'm never going to be my mom. I'm never going to be my dad. I don't want that trait. But slowly but surely you kind of see things come around the bend and the method to their madness. And I'll just say kind of structure. My mom was big time on structure, and my podcast partner, Conrad Thompson, he claims he's never seen a person that is so structured as I'll just say my mornings from 5 a.m. till about 11 a.m. every day. I'm almost like clockwork. I do the same thing every day. And for as far as, not just working out and my spiritual time and alone time, but eating time.
Right.
And, I get the things in my business done first and let all the noise happen afterwards. There's a signal versus noise. That's a whole nother radio show.
Right.
I try to really I'll dial in to what keep the main thing. And I think a lot of that is from my parents, but my mom on the structure.
Oh, I love it. Jeff, Ted Turner passed away this week. And of course we know about the Braves and cable TV, but the impact he had on wrestling and on you was something probably pretty unique. Tell us about Ted and how you knew him and what it meant to you.
Just a little while ago, I reposted, I'll still say retweet. Y'all got Bischoff coming up, I believe, at the top of the hour. And, man, he's got fascinating stories. But what I've always thought so cool about Ted is the stories that my dad used to tell me back in the day. And for non-wrestling fans, bookers are the guys that nowadays, what you would call matchmaker/writer. Well, my dad was booking the Atlanta territory way back in the day, and he was in the studios, and there was a young man that would always sit in on the edit late at night because that was the only time that my dad could get in there, and the edits were, really not a high-end edit, just kind of cleaning up commercial breaks and that. But there's always a young man in there, and he introduced himself one day, and my dad and Ted, that's how they met. My dad was booking, and I always have been super fascinated at, their long-time relationship that goes way, way back. And then, kind of through the iteration of the years. And the one thing, and I don't know how many times I have shared this, I can't say as the lead in a business meeting, but I don't care if it's a toy figure, a licensee, international, whatever it may be. But when you look at the real strength of Ted and understand, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but I mean, he was such a pioneer. But he would tell anybody the three things that he built his empire on. And when you wrap your head around this, and he says, built my empire on Andy Griffith, the Atlanta Braves, and professional wrestling. When you look at the foundation of that spawned CNN, and I know the war had a lot to do with that, and just all the things that have branched out of it, went and bought MGM, the movie, library and all this. But when you really think through how Ted viewed it, that he is such a pioneer on his vision in that he really knew how to advertise, because that's what his father's business was. We're talking about pass it down generations. He understood what his father's business was about, marketing and advertising. And he knew that Atlanta Braves, good old Barney and Andy Griffith and professional wrestling were going to get nothing but eyeballs. And he built an empire off that. I've always thought that was really cool. So when I tell folks that the Warner Brothers Discovery empire was really built off wrestling, it turned some heads. But yeah, the world lost a visionary yesterday.
Yeah, they did. And look, I mean, growing up watching during the Monday Night Wars, and you were on both sides of that for a long time with WCW and WWF. I mean, he certainly played a really crucial role in that.
Well, I'm sure you guys are going to dig into it, but I mean, him green lighting Nitro fundamentally changed in a positive way, changed the industry, because without that, I'm not sure USA Network, how much gas they put on that. When he competed, started that competitive environment, I often use the analogy. Can you imagine if Pepsi never came along and it was just Coca-Cola? I'm not sure Coca-Cola would be where it's at today without Pepsi. Same with all kind of other brands. When you really supercharge the market with a billionaire funding professional wrestling, namely Monday Night Nitro, it fundamentally changed our business. And if you take it a step back, the Superstation TBS, him putting it on 6:05 on Saturdays Eastern, that was the precursor to it all on a national scale. The USA Network, in essence, kind of followed along. So if you really want to talk about taking the business national, it was WTBS Superstation.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you mentioned Eric. We'll have Eric Bischoff on to talk more about that too, because I'm sure you two could tell some stories together from your time working together.
Yeah, it's funny. If we're telling story time, different guys like Sting had a unique relationship, but even guys like the Nasty Boys and different folks, when Ted would immerse himself and show up at whether it's the Turner Towers or whatever it may be, you just had to wrap your head around that here's the most powerful man in all of media, and he's hanging out at the wrestling show. Always pretty cool. His brave stories and all that. But yeah, when you really think about when you hear his bio and the bison herd and the land and all the things he did, he was just a unique, different, they don't make them like him anymore, cut from a different mold kind of guy. And I am very grateful that he, you can call him a wrestling fan, but he had a vision. He understood the industry on a different level on how you could monetize it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jeff, appreciate the time. We're excited about tomorrow. The Cats off to a 2-1 start. You can come see Dave Luce and Jeff Fisher. And next week, our receiver, Derek Mason, and his former teammate, Kevin Dyson, will be the Cats captains for May 16th. That's going to be awesome. So I know you guys got a lot of exciting things happening over the course of the next couple of weeks in Clarksville, but we're excited to be a part of it.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Joe, get ready. Catsfootball.com, folks. Get there early. We're going to have a blast. And Chase, I got something for you tomorrow. You better be ready, my man.
Oh, I am ready.
Please be a guitar to the back of the head. Oh, my God. Yes.
I am ready. All right.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on. Go to catsfootball.com for all the information, or Ticketmaster for your tickets tomorrow. 3:00.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
That is Jeff Jarrett, Double J.
You're not going to be able to sleep tonight.
I'm excited. Please be a guitar shot. I love that.
He's going to pile drive you 30 feet in the air, man. Love it.
That would be fantastic. All right, what do we want to do here, Nick? Because we're a little. Do we want to do a long break or
do a long break?
Yeah, we'll do a long
Friday,
break.
Man. We've had a good show today.
We'll do a little bit of an extended break, come back at the top of the hour or a little before it with Eric Bischoff, longtime WCW president, worked for Ted Turner, basically helped make WCW what it became and make wrestling, what it is today. We will talk to Eric coming up here in just a few minutes, and we are looking forward to that. I do want to tell you that I believe Vanderbilt baseball moving to 7 o'clock. So they're about an hour back today. So you can hear pregame at 6:45 and then first pitch at 7. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game. You can watch all these shows live and get exclusive content as well. So just go hit subscribe. That would really help us out at 1025 The Game on YouTube. We'll have more coming in hour number 3, including Eric Bischoff. This is the Chase and Big Joe Show presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102, or hour number 3, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. On this Friday, we have had a lot. We've covered a lot of ground and going to keep it going here, JoJo. Excited about our next guest. You know him as a longtime president and on screen with WCW and then later in WWE. Now he's got Real American Freestyle that we'll tell you about, but he worked for Ted Turner for a long time. Eric Bischoff has been nice enough to join us. Eric, how you doing?
I am doing very well. Great to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some things that you've done this week since the news of Ted Turner passing away at the age of 87. You've talked very highly of him, but I mean, between him greenlighting you to do the things that you wanted to do, Nitro being the biggest part of that, it changed the industry. It changed the wrestling business. What did Ted mean to you?
Opportunity, man. I said for a long time, up until, the day he died, if Ted Turner would have picked up the phone and gave me a call and said, "Hey, Eric, I want you to come to work with me, but you're going to have to chop off your left hand first," I would have been looking for the tools and jump on a plane as soon as I could figure it out, because he was such an entrepreneur, and you could learn so much from him. He didn't fear failure, which I think is kind of a paralyzing, crippling thing that happens to even really, really successful people, sometimes even the most successful people, because when you reach a certain level of success, you don't want to jeopardize it, right? But Ted wasn't like that. Ted would take risks. And if you look at some of the things he did in the media business, people thought he was nuts, and it worked out. The MGM Film Library almost put him into bankruptcy, but man, it was prescient. It kind of, long before everybody else figured out that owning content was a valuable thing, Ted saw that. So just a lot of things like that. Just the opportunity to work in the same zip code as somebody like that is a blessing and a privilege.
Was he one of those guys that, it was his company, it was his money. Did you have to explain a lot of what you wanted to do to him, or did he have the trust with you, to kind of go and do it and make it happen?
There was zero oversight from about I shouldn't say zero oversight. I think it was the wrong impression. Of course, I had bosses. When I first became executive producer, I was hired into that position by the VP of Human Resources at Turner Broadcasting, a gentleman by the name of Bill Shaw, who really was, I don't think at that time Ted Turner even knew who I was. But because Bill Shaw hired me into a pretty highly visible opportunity inside of WCW, of course, it gave me the opportunity to work up the food chain. But it was just an amazing period of time. That's all I can say.
When you decided the whole NWO angle, which really changed the business, going, the reality of here's these two guys formerly known as Diesel and Razor Ramon invading WCW, Hogan comes along as well. Did he truly appreciate what that was not only doing for his company, but for the business as a whole?
Of course he did. And if you heard me in some of the other interviews this week, I tell a story that is, I think just characterizes everything that you just asked, in that, the ratings, our show, of course, was Monday night head-to-head with Monday Night Raw. And the Nielsen ratings would come out the very next day. Now, usually not till the end of the day, 4:30, 5:30, sometimes 6 o'clock. So on Tuesdays, of course, we all waited in the office, even if we were done with our day. We all waited in the office for those ratings to come out. And it came out across Turner Broadcasting all at the same time. So we all got the email regarding the ratings from the night before. And of course, we're all interested to see how we did head-to-head with WWE. And by the time NWO came around, we were, as they say in the South, curb stomping them on a pretty regular basis. They were a mud hole, and we were the boot. We were just stomping them. And Ted would call me like within 15 minutes or 20 minutes of those ratings coming out. Ted would call my office, which is pretty damn cool if you're me right? And he was giddy. He was like a kid. It's like, oh man, we beat their ass again this week. It wasn't like very good, Eric. We're really happy what this is going to do for our forecast for the fourth quarter, and our stock is going to go up. But none of that happy corporate nonsense, right? It was all, man, I can't believe we did it again. And he was so excited. He was childlike in that regard.
Eric, when I go back and look at kind of your bio from the mid 80s to like the mid 2000s, I mean, do you ever look at like, how the hell did I pull this off? I mean, because there's all this chaos that's going on, but you had to keep the plane flying, right? I mean, you had to keep it going forward, but there's a lot that went on that time. You ever look back like, man, how did I do this?
Yeah, all the time. And not so much how did I do that, but how did I survive it? Because there were extreme highs and successes, and there were like devastating lows. And I don't want to call them failures, but things that didn't go the way I hoped, right? Failure is such a horrible way of looking at an attempt, even if it doesn't work, because it's such a valuable learning experience, or at least it should be. And when you're an entrepreneur, like I have been my whole life, and it's probably the reason I look up to people like Ted and Elon Musk as much as I do, because they're visionaries. They see things so far into the future that most of us can't really comprehend. And they see it playing out in a way that allows them to actually execute on it. It's a gift. And I've always been an entrepreneur, just not as successful as a lot of them. But being an entrepreneur, you have to be comfortable taking risks. You have to be willing to take a loss. And sometimes those losses are embarrassing because if you're in the entertainment business, it's very, very public. And you have to learn how to deal with that. But one of the things I liked about Ted is, as successful as he was, he had no fear of failure. And he imparted that on, it's one of the reasons why I would have cut off my left hand to go back to work for him, because he instilled that feeling within the people that work for him. It was okay to fail as long as you're really trying and you had a good idea and you don't make a habit of it. It's not like if you failed to Turner Broadcasting, you had a big project, or you were assigned something and you couldn't pull it across the finish line, your job was in jeopardy. That was not the case. I love that about Ted. He inspired people like me to take big risks.
What lesson? Because you talk about Ted in so glowing terms of like, all too often, like the big guy always meddles and screws things up and everything. What could people learn from Ted Turner if they're doing this, Eric, where like, don't do this because we were successful because Ted Turner didn't do this?
It's hard for me to answer. And sometimes I'm concerned that I'm giving the impression that I knew Ted, really well, or I'm some kind of an expert on Ted Turner. I'm not. I had the privilege of working with him for a brief period of time. I had some, towards the end, obviously with Nitro, some pretty decent reactions and interaction with him. But philosophically, I'm probably not the best person to speak on specifically those things. But in general, I think Ted my impression at my level, he was a macro manager. He wasn't a micromanager. He believed, I think, in hiring the right people. And a lot of that was instinct on his part. It's what kind of person you were as well as how credentialed you were. And I say that by looking at, some of the people that Ted placed around him, like Scott Sassa, for example, while I was there. Scott Sassa at one point was the heir apparent to Turner Broadcasting. He got kind of crossed out of the deal in the merger shuffle, but really, really super talented guy that was going to be the heir apparent to Ted Turner at Turner Broadcasting. He didn't micromanage. He put the right people in the right position. He gave them the tools. And the most important thing, as I said a few moments ago, gave them permission to fail as long as they, put forth the effort and had the right idea. I don't know. I don't think you can manage people any better than that. I think you get the most out of talented people when you macro manage them versus micromanage them.
Eric Bischoff is with us, longtime WCW president. What do you remember about his reaction? And I don't know if you guys had conversations before it happened or if he watched live like everybody else, when Hogan drops the leg on Savage and forms the NWO, and the biggest baby face in the history of pro wrestling becomes the biggest heel in the history of pro wrestling all in one moment.
What do I remember about that, or do I remember Ted's reaction to it?
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
I think, well, I've talked about my reaction to it. It was surreal, mostly it was relief, because for me, my perspective as the producer and the guy that was responsible for that decision, I wasn't sure up until an hour or two before it actually happened that it really was going to happen the way we planned it. I've talked about that in great detail. I won't beat it to death, but Hulk was capable of changing his mind at the last minute. So that was a very stressful kind of condition just because of that issue. And I had Sting as a backup plan. That's how concerned I was, that I had to have a plan B in case plan A didn't actually happen. So when plan A finally happened and Hulk dropped that leg, for me, it was two things. It was first and foremost, I could breathe. It actually happened according to plan. And number two, I was just amazed at the reaction. I'd never seen heat like that before. I'd heard stories about it, many of them from years and years ago, but I'd never been a part of it myself. So to actually see the audience reacting and throwing stuff in the ring, and it was genuine heat. It wasn't Pavlov's dog. Hey, we're the audience. We're supposed to participate. Our job is to boo the bad guys, right? It wasn't that. It was, I want to hurt that bad guy. I want to get my hands on his neck. I want to strangle that bad guy. I want to inflict harm and damage and pain because my hero just turned his back on me. That was real emotion. And if you go back and watch some of the tight shots we got of people at ringside, there were grown men with tears in their eyes. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it was pretty powerful. And for someone that had never seen that kind of reaction live, especially when I had something to do with it, it was pretty overwhelming. So between the relief and just the being overwhelmed with the reaction, it was pretty special night. Ted, I don't recall Ted. He didn't certainly ask me about it or anything in terms of, Hulk Hogan turned heel. What Ted did talk about the following Tuesday around 5:30 or 6 in the afternoon was the ratings that came along the next 2 years because of it. That we did talk about on a regular basis.
Eric Bischoff is with us. Well, what's funny is I remember being in that moment, watching it live of my heroes turning on me, but I also remember the shift of they were so bad that they were cool. And, my mom's like, what is this NWO thing you're wearing? And like that's what happened. Like everybody, even though they were kind of the bad guys, there was this shift that everybody loved to be NWO. And now at 38 years old, I'm still like, if you're NWO, you're NWO for life. So did you kind of foresee that happening like it did?
If I was your typical former wrestling personality, what I would do right now is take this opportunity to make myself sound like a freaking genius. I could do that by saying, oh, that was my plan all along. In the back of my mind, I saw how this would impact the wrestling audience and the industry. But that would be a lie, because I believed, I should say. You never know until after it happens. But I believe pretty strongly that I had a good, solid 90-day storyline. I was confident. I was confident that if plan A actually executed, that I'd have a solid 90, maybe 120 days under my belt of good business. There is no way I foresaw what the NWO has become. It's not even over. It's not done yet. It's still alive. Mm-hmm. You can go to the end of the WWE merchandise catalog, and I haven't looked at it recently, but as recently as 6 months or a year ago, I think the NWO merchandise, it was in the top 10 or 12
wow.
of all current WWE merchandise. Think about that. That's an impact. If you look at all of the ways that WWE is currently still using NWO in 2026 video games, it's still very much a live, viable brand in the entertainment business. So for me to say, oh yeah, back in 1996, I had this idea and I knew, 25, 30 years later, it'd still be hot. That would be typical of an ex-wrestling personality, but it would be complete BS, which is also typical of a former wrestling personality.
Well,
and executive, especially.
To your point, Eric, I can tell you the moment that I got the news that Hulk had passed away, I immediately went into my closet and I didn't put on red and yellow. I put on my NWO shirt and I was like, NWO for life, brother. That's the impact.
It's so interesting about Hulk, isn't it? Because, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, I mean, his run was generational, right?
Yes.
How often does a character like Stone Cold Steve Austin come along? Once every 25, 35 years, somebody just breaks through the clutter. Because at the time when Steve Austin broke through, keep in mind, WWE had been getting their asses kicked. They were losing audience more and more and more every week. Things were really bad there, to the point where financially they were having very difficult times. And things looked really bleak. And then Steve Austin emerges out of that and completely flips everything around for the company, and eventually put WWE in a position to purchase WCW. How often does a character like that come along? Not very often. How often does a John Cena come along, or an Undertaker, or Ric Flair? Point is, generational stars and talent are very, very rare. But how many of those aforementioned names, as great as of a run as they had, and as much history as they made, how many of them did it twice? Hulk Hogan reinvented the business in the 80s, along with Vince McMahon. You can't mention one without the other. They were a team, right? Vince couldn't have done it without Hulk. Hulk couldn't have done it without Vince. That's just the way it is, no matter what anybody tells you. But Hulk got to be a part of that. And it changed everything in terms of the business of the wrestling business changed because of it. And he did it again in 1996. So he'll always represent those two, what I would refer to as golden eras. I think the most important one was in the 80s, because that's the pivot and the change in the industry that, took wrestling from being a small little regional niche promotion to a national promotion with very high, production values and drama and all the other things. It mainstreamed wrestling. That was, in my opinion, from a television perspective, the most significant golden era. But right on the heels of that, in terms of impact, is Hulk Hogan turning heel and the NWO idea. Because that idea redefined wrestling in the late 90s. It redefined the wrestling model. Much like Hulk and Vince did in the 80s, Hulk and Eric did in the 90s, in the sense that we changed the format. We went from the traditional cookie cutter, good guy image to the cool heel character that was almost aspirational. That was revolutionary from a creative perspective. But from a television perspective, I focused on changing the format. And people outside of television don't generally understand what that means. But it's the ingredients. If you think about a recipe for an exquisite, exotic meal with a very complex recipe, what's the right ingredients, the right amount of the ingredients, the timing of those ingredients, the cook time, the prep, blah, 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 blah. That's what takes to go into a great meal. Well, a great television show requires the same type of an approach, but that's what we call a format. And we changed the format. We changed the way wrestling characters are presented. We changed the audience. We went after an 18 to 49-year-old audience with the NWO, while Vince was chasing kiddies. He was 18 to 49-year-old. His characters were all like, silly garbage men and, over the top, parody type characters, because his audience was 18 to 40, or excuse me, teen and preteen. Ours was 18 to 49. That shift that occurred because of Hulk turning heel and the NWO is the only reason WWE exists in the form it does today, because it elevated the business. That head-to-head competition, Hulk Hogan turning heel, the NWO, all you've heard the saying, all boats rise with a high tide. Well, we flooded it, and everybody's boat rose. And Hulk Hogan's right there front and center, just like he was with Vince McMahon in the 80s. It's pretty cool.
As we always say, it's better to be lucky than good. Hey, one last question for me, Eric. Have you gotten down to Vegas to see Fish at the Sphere?
I have not. I've been to the Sphere once. We just toured it. There wasn't anything going on there, but no, I have not seen Fish. I know that the rumor is I'm a huge Fish fan. I don't know where that started. I wouldn't recognize a Fish song if it ended up. But hey, if someday I'm in Vegas and Fish is in the Sphere, what the hell? I'll check it out.
Oh, there you go. It's all over that you're a big fan of Fish, so I didn't know. There you go.
I can't figure it out. I don't know that I've ever listened to a Fish song.
All right, man. That's cool.
That is fantastic. Hey, real quick, Real American Freestyle. I know that's something that, Hulk was working on before his passing. You're obviously a big part of that. Tell us a little more about it and some of the big events you have coming up.
Yeah, our next big event is in Arlington, Texas, May 30th. Huge event. It's RAF 09, our 9th event so far. We started in August and have just been picking up so much steam. We've got a great card. What's so much fun is we've got absolutely the best the elite freestyle wrestlers in the world, Olympic champions, world champions, NCAA champions. When it comes to the elite of the elite in freestyle wrestling, so many of them are part of Real American Freestyle. But we've also got, crossover, MMA crossover athletes like Colby Covington, for example, very high profile in the UFC, also a great wrestler, because so many of the UFC MMA fighters in general all come from a freestyle wrestling background. Hazma Chimaev, who is recently signed with Real American Freestyle, and you'll be seeing him in the months coming up, has got a strong wrestling background. So by having crossovers with, Olympic athletes like Kyle Snyder, for example, some up-and-coming young superstars under 20 years old, Bo Bassett, kid's 19 years old. He's a prodigy. It's an amazing thing. So we've got the best of both worlds, and we showcase it on Fox Nation. Check us out May 30th, coming to you from Arlington, Texas. It's going to be a hell of a night.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And again, Fox Nation is where you can go and watch it exclusively. So definitely wanted to mention that. Eric, you're always very kind with your time. I could sit here and talk to you all day about wrestling and the stories and Hulk Hogan, but thanks so much for doing this, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you again for the invite, and anytime you know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Eric Bischoff, longtime WCW president, joining us here on Chasing Big Joe. We'll have more coming next on 102.5 The Game.
Thank you, Eric.
Well done, Dr. Crane. Just telling Joe about that song. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Appreciate Eric Bischoff for joining us. Man, shows like this are fun. Just get to do different interviews and whatnot, different walks of life.
Should have come back with some fish.
I know.
There's still time.
Tim in Spring Hill says, you guys rock. Been a wrestling fan for 55 years and have truly enjoyed this interview with Eric Bischoff. Brings back some great memories in the history of pro wrestling. So thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Nevada Josh, did he ever want an NWO versus DX match? That would have been cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to I'm working on some things and I would include him as a guest. So I will ask him that. Next time.
I mean, the 80s were great. In the 90s, I kind of checked out on wrestling. But I mean, like when I'd see Hulk or somebody like that, it was like, oh, I remember those. So when he talked about 80s wrestling, that's me, man. That's all of us. That's all we imitated. We didn't imitate football players in high school. We imitated wrestlers.
Right.
Hulk and all those guys and Macho Man. That's all we did.
What's interesting too is he talks about what Vince and the WWF were doing in the 90s. I mean, the kind of the audience that they were appealing to. I mean, one of your best friends made a good living off of that because
really good living.
Reno Riggins, that we've talked about quite a bit. I mean, that was what they were doing, but WCW was doing it too. But I've heard Eric say in other interviews that WWF did that stuff much better than us. And then when we went to the NWO reality stuff, that's, when it really changed everything. But he's right. I mean, I don't know if there is, wrestling like we watch today,
right?
If they don't do that.
You're right.
I don't think AEW's around. I don't think WWE may not be around. Like, I just don't think people care. It could still be a very regional thing. So, and now it's on ESPN.
Right.
Like it's almost overkill on ESPN now.
Well, I mean, you bring up like Mean Gene. I know who that is. What was the
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
What was the referee, Tommy Sloan?
Yeah, he was one.
I mean, I knew Tommy Sloan better than I knew my own dad. I mean,
Andre
it's just,
the Giant.
These are all local, like
the
regional guys who we grew up on would watch on TV on the weekends. I mean, we knew these guys. It's crazy. Dutch Mantel. I mean, they all fed into a greater thing, but it all started there and it went upwards. So it's crazy, man.
Nick, of course, knows that very well.
Yeah, Tojo Yamamoto. I mean, you could go on and on.
Legend.
Yeah.
Well, but who is your legend?
Yeah, my grandfather for sure. Yeah, I mean, he wrestled in the NWA, wrestled under Jeff Jarrett's dad, Jerry Jarrett, excuse me, his promotion. So I mean, it just goes on and on, the lineage for sure. I mean, you can't talk about wrestling without mentioning Memphis, also Nashville. I mean, a lot of these wrestling events happened at the fairgrounds, which I find so near and dear to my heart. So that's why I like going to those soccer games, is because there's so much history and lineage, not only with racing and soccer, but also just wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Yeah. Actually, I got a few years ago, went to the NWA 70 event. I think it was one of the last events at the old sports arena that Double J was nice enough to hook me up with, and saw one of the best matches I've ever seen live between Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis for the NWA's World's Heavyweight Championship, and it was awesome. So
for those that didn't know earlier, we had Jeff Jarrett on. He's got a surprise for Chase tomorrow before the Cats game in Clarksville, and we're praying it's a guitar to the back of the head. I will be let down if there's not a guitar to the back of your head.
It'd be
tomorrow.
Awesome.
Well, I don't want that, because that means I got to do the game by myself on television.
Picking splinters out,
and I usually check out those games. So
concussion protocol the first quarter.
Yeah, right. So I hope it is. I hope it's not, because we're going to be on the big T on the. Big
I will
tube
say
tomorrow.
this: if it is a guitar shot, please get a video.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
We will come back with more here in hour number 3, Chasing Big Joe on a Friday, 102.5 The Game.
Hey guys, Big Joe here. Listen, May is Mental Health Month, but on our show, we talk about it every day, because for the guys out there, if you are struggling, we tell you every day how much we love you, how great you are doing, and keep fighting and going forward. That's why we're so honored to be partnering with UnityCares.com. UnityCares.com is the place to go if you are struggling. You got anxiety, you got depression. It's where you go to talk things out and get it off your chest. I've told you guys, going to therapy changed my life, and I know a lot of big bad dudes who go to therapy and it's changed their life. Don't let that stop get in your way. Don't let it stop you. Please go. You deserve to have a great life, and opening up and talking about what's going on is the first step getting there. And look, we tell you all the time, you don't have to go through this alone. UnityCares.com is based right here in Middle Tennessee, not some far off place where you don't know this or that. They're based right here. It's private, it's secure, it's confidential, and they offer telehealth. Yes, they offer telehealth. Their main goal is to get you back living the life you absolutely deserve. Well, I say it every day. Guys come to me and say, look, I need to go to therapy. I don't know where to begin. UnityCares.com. Go to the website, and everything is laid out there for you perfectly. That's all you need to do is go there, and it shows you what to do, who you're going to talk to, and getting your life back on track. I tell you all the time, our world's a better place because you are here. Your family needs you. Your grandkids need you. We need you. Go to the website, UnityCares.com. It's UnityCares.com.
Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Just got paid a visit by the great George Plaster. He'll be on the air at 3 o'clock on 94.9 The Fan.
Giving Chase some advice about tomorrow's Cats game. We'll be on TV tomorrow.
Yeah, I am excited about it. It'll be fun. Be good to be there and check things out. 4 o'clock kickoff.
If your neck is not broken because of Jeff Jarrett,
you want to see
I wonder what he's got for you.
I don't know.
What if he shot you in the foot? I mean, that's great, man. Have a good day.
That would be kind of mean. I don't know if I'd like that very much. Our question of the day is for in honor of Mother's Day. What's your mom's name, and what is one word you could use to describe her? We've had a lot of people weigh in. Thomas in Nashville says, "Good afternoon, guys. My mom's name was Ginger. The one word I would use to describe her is Spitfire. She was very loving, but also very firm. Thanks, guys." Thomas on her car phone.
Spitfire.
That's a good one.
Think about that. When you hear the word Spitfire, it's like, yeah, that's a good mom right there.
Well, so it's ironic. I guess it has been.
Isn't it ironic?
Trying to do math in my head. 14 years now, I guess. My grandmother on my mom's side, Jan, I called her Mimo, passed away, and it was Mother's Day weekend, which was really hard, but she, had been sick. But Spitfire could be a good word for her too, because the boss. She was in charge.
Oh, that's a good one.
And you knew she was in charge. My grandfather would would do something and like, don't tell your grandmother. I'm like, well, she's gonna find out.
Yeah, right.
It was like that. One of my, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell a story before we get to birthdays. But when I was growing up, my mom my mom had gotten a couple of puppies, and one went to my grandfather and one stayed with us. And they were border collies, and border collies are, not necessarily the best house pet. And so Zach was his name. He would escape all the time and like bring stuff home. Nice. He brought home an Armani jacket one time. Like he was.
You sure this was a dog and not a midget?
No, this was a dog.
Okay.
So it gets to the point where my mom's like, I can't keep him. And so they find, we're going to send him to the farm. Well, my grandfather had like a friend from church that had a bunch of land and was willing to take him. And so my mom's like, okay. And like, but she was worried about me. And so my grandfather's like, well, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. So, he picks me up from school and everything. And, he's talking to me and he's like, it's not working out with Zach because he's just getting out. And he had his dog that, was at the house and had a big yard and stuff to run. And so we're going through this whole thing, and he's supposed to tell me that they're taking the dog to this farm. And so
air quotes, this farm.
Well, it's really a farm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So
making sure.
So my mom's a teacher too. And my mom calls like as soon as she can. And my grandmother answers the phone and she's like, hey, is everything okay? How is Chase? And she's like, oh, Chase is just fine. And mom's like, okay, he's not upset. And she goes, oh no, your father, on the other hand, I'm about to send out there with him.
Right.
And she's like, what are you talking about? And my grandfather had gone and gotten the dog, taken it to his house, and had made the dog pen bigger so both dogs could stay there. There was never a farm. He was never going to a farm. This was always going to be the plan.
Oh man.
And it was, it's one of my favorite stories, but my grandmother's reaction was priceless. Of course, she didn't want me upset either.
Sure.
But now they have two dogs instead of one dog, and my mom's just laughing, but that was my grandmother. She's like, oh, I'm going to send him out the pen with him.
Right.
So that was a classic.
So it never works out with people named Zach, does it?
It
just never does.
It doesn't. When you go through A to Z, it just never works. But but no, I'm kidding. Sorry, inside joke. With that, let's get to what day is it? Celebrity birthdays coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Friday. Thanks for playing along with us. It's been a fun show, all show long. Covered a lot of different ground and honoring the moms as well. Want to give you a programming note. Chasing Checkers returns, talk some NASCAR as the NASCAR getting near to Nashville. I have a couple of driver interviews, Zane Smith, and you'll hear our Chase Briscoe interview we did a couple of weeks ago as well. That'll be on YouTube tonight at 6, and then you can hear it on the air tomorrow at 11 as a part of our Saturday programming. So looking forward to that. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
Okay, first on the list we have, oh boy, National Public Gardens Day, Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
No. Did you skip one?
No, I did not. I saw the picture and it was a picture of something else. So I was like, oh boy.
All right. Okay.
Continuing.
All right.
Today is Iris Day, the flower, Free Trade Day, Fantastic Friday, giving sharks a voice day. All right.
No.
No. Okay. National Coconut Cream Pie Day is today. Let's see. Give someone a cupcake day. You could pair that with coconut cream pie. National Have a Coke Day. There you go. Provider Appreciation Day. Time of remembrance and reconciliation for those lost their lives during the Second World War. National Student Nurses Day. No Socks Day. That was somebody previously. All right, let's see here. I mean, they walked into the studio. I just, World Ovarian Cancer Day is today. Victory in Europe Day. World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. And that's it. That's all we got, fellas.
All right. Would you give a shark a voice? It's like giving a snake a voice. You're not going to just snakes don't deserve a voice.
Then what are you talking about? Finding Nemo. Bruce, he's a shark. He has a voice.
But Bruce would eat you.
I don't know about that.
No, I don't. He's a shark. He's not your buddy. All right. Time for celebrity birthdays. I get these within 2 years of their actual age. Dr. Crane, you go first because you lose every day. All right.
That's
Dr. Crane.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Former Michigan State football coach Mike D'Antonio.
63.
67.
75. And I don't know why I cut his name off. Chaser. He does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but he is. Bill Cowher.
67.
71.
69. That's a push. Dr.
Nice.
Crane. Larry, thank you. Lovey Smith.
63.
66.
68. Chased on the board. By the way, Dr. Crane, the Levy you're thinking of is from Gilligan's Island.
Thanks.
Chaser, how old is Ronnie Lott?
Old Ronnie Lott's 62.
65.
67. Tied at 1. Dr. Crane, one of the greatest SEC linemen of all time. Brad Culpepper played at Florida. How old's Brad Culpepper?
58.
57.
57 exactly. Chase up 3-1. Chaser, how old is Felix Jones, former Cowboy?
40.
47.
39. Chase up 4-1. Dr. Crane, from your favorite show, Little House on the Prairie, how old is Melissa Gilbert today?
72.
62.
62 exactly. It's crazy, man. Chaser, how old is Enrique Iglesias?
I can be your hero.
Yes, you can.
I'm going to say he is 47.
49.
51. It's now 6-2, Chaser. Dr. Crane, how old is Tony Tennille from Captain and Tennille?
67.
85.
86. Chaser up 72. Chaser, how old is one of my favorite singers of all time, Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I will say your rendition is
the
best, though. Philip Bailey is 77.
73.
75. That's another push. Dr. Crane, how old is country musician Billy Burnett, formerly of Fleetwood Mac?
71.
81.
73. It's now 7-3. Chaser, how old is drummer Alex Van Halen from Van Halen?
72.
68.
73. It's 8-3. Dr. Crane, how old is actor David Keith? That's Mike Keith's cousin. He's from East Tennessee. He's also an officer gentleman. He hangs himself in the movie, and his girlfriend says, I'm not going to marry some Okie from Muskogee, and he dies.
58.
61.
72. Let's go down here. Chaser, how old is drummer Chris France of Talking Heads?
64.
66.
75. Dr. Crane, how old is drummer Dale Gray of Little Texas?
70.
God bless Texas. 62.
58. And with that, we're over. Chaser wins again, 8-3.
Thank you very much.
I'm serious. You got like a 90% winning percentage. Dr. Crane, I would fire your manager and GM.
It's been fun.
Just when you're busy, man, you're busy. Can't help
Busy.
it.
He's so busy. That is going to do it for us. Have a great weekend and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Absolutely with that. To our guys out there, to another show, we tell you every day how great you are, how wonderful you're doing, and you're getting there, right? Celebrate your mom this weekend. Get out and do something for yourself. It's not selfish. It's deserving. Go out and just explore life and be happy about things. But talk, open up, reach out to us. If you need to talk, we're always here for you. Always here for you to tell you that you're doing a fantastic job. Know how much we love you. And more importantly, more than anything else in this world, please know how much God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD coming your way next on 102.